I just want to remind myself how momentum update works. Why do I have this here? Let me see if there is any calculations that depend on this. Because it looks like I did it purposely. That's odd. Is this not a trained network? Oh, okay. It's because the input's being randomized, which is so that's why everything, that's why the numbers are always changing whenever I hit refresh. I'm just very confused as to what this part was, why I added these numbers here. Yeah, I'll probably just pour through the code later on just to figure out why that is. But okay, moving on. The most important point here is that it's the weight delta. So right before you adjust the weights, that's where momentum comes into place. So I take mu, which is my hyperparameter. I multiply it by the old. Okay. So v is our momentum variable. I'll multiply it by what's in there currently. And I add learning rate multiplied by the weight delta. Okay, that's pretty simple, I think. I have to remind myself of a couple of things about momentum. Let me just pull up my notes. Actually, let me just put up the CS21 231 lecture notes, or notes just generally. These are golden. So momentum and both momentum update and Nestrov's momentum update, I know that what they're supposed to be doing is they're supposed to be. So momentum, if we think of it like a ball, it tries to figure out where down the slope the ball would move fastest, where it will gain the most momentum, and it'll try to find it and go down that area. So the steepest hill is what it looks for. Nestrov's momentum update, I think what it does is that it takes a look ahead at the next point, and then it tries to find the steepest hill at that point, and so it's just going faster because it's already looking ahead. I need to eat too. I need to stop these like really late night dinners. Okay, so I mean, it's quite simple actually. This is the formula here from Momentum Update. So it's not really going to be too difficult to implement. Let's do. You know what? Let's do that. I was actually thinking of skipping it and then just doing Nestrov's Momentum Update, but let's do this. It shouldn't really take too long. How many times do I say that? And then it takes me 2 hours. But really shouldn't take too long, and then we'll do Nestrov's. Okay, so this is pretty simple. I think I remember why I did this. I still cannot remember for the life of me why I did this like that. Oh, I think I remember why. I think it has to do with when the sheet refreshes. I need to keep a static copy of the weight or something like that. Okay. Okay, so let's just go ahead and let's just duplicate this. We're just going to call it RNN. As you can see, this is a very chaotic worksheet. RNN with momentum. Like nothing's labeled. Data is just all over the place. This would give most people anxiety, like a panic attack. But I like the chaos. Doesn't feel like you're performing well. Okay. I need to move these guys out of the way. I have to restructure my. I have to restructure my macro then. Oh well. Okay, so let's just get into this. So this is V. Okay. Okay. No. Oops. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've created a momentum variable for all of our different weights. So we have our delta weights, and then we have momentum variables that we'll be incorporating. We also have our bias, our bias deltas. We'll also be creating, we'll also be using momentum to update them as well. So updating momentum is quite simple. All we're going to be doing is we're just going to be grabbing, actually let me just delete this. Just pulling up this CS231 notes. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing our mu. So let me create a new variable, call it mu. I think mu, what's the usual? Yeah, 0.99. Get 0.9. It's really bugging me how slow this computer is right now. Okay, so we're going to grab our mu. We're going to multiply that by our old v. Then we're going to add, sorry, we're going to subtract our learning rate. We're going to subtract multiplication of that by the delta weights we have here. So that's that. Going to copy this formula for here. Just make sure. No, that doesn't look right. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. Like that. Copy that same formula over here. Oops. Just delete everything. That same formula over here. Just take a look at what it's grabbing. Copy this guy again. Oops. Who cares? I just don't want to. I just don't want to keep continuously resize, because now I have to resize this to fit the 4x4. But it's fine. Okay, so now we have our momentum variable implemented. What we now need is to add it to our weights function. Sorry, to add it to the updates function. So I'll just call this new weights 1. New, of course. New weights 2, and then new weights 3. Bias call this new bias 1. I'm gonna have to experiment with keeping the we're gonna have to do some math and see whether or not I can add the bias to the weight matrix for the weights that connect the input to the hidden layer and the weights that connect the hidden layer to itself. I'm gonna have to see what happens if I add bias connections to those matrices. It's gonna be like the same parameters, the same values. I just want to see if it affects the math at all, which it probably will, but. No, I actually don't think it will. I think one of them should only have bias though. So maybe not on the input weights, but maybe on the hidden weights. Maybe I have bias there because I'm kind of thinking ahead. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but then when you want to implement or when you want to scale this up and build a library around it, you would probably want, because you want to have the ability to have multiple layers, right? So, and I'm just thinking about how my current neural network library is structured. It just adds a bias to every single set of weights that it encounters, and so maybe for recurrent, I don't have a bias. I don't have bias weights for the first set of synapses that connect the input to the hidden layer, but maybe on the synapses that connect hidden layers to themselves subsequently, I have a bias. I'll think about that. This is why I like vlogging. It's like, you guys are my rubber ducks. I speak to you, and you guys help me figure stuff out. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I need to quickly finish this up and go to bed. Okay, so what we're just going to be doing is we're just going to be taking our old weights and we're just going to be adding our momentum variable to it. So it's quite simple. And that's that. Pretty much implemented momentum. I knew this was going to be. Let me not jinx it because we haven't trained it yet. Okay, now let me just take a look at the code that I've implemented for this button. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to create a new button. That's all. It's all mumble jumble to me. Not that it's mumble jumble. It's just there's just no point in reading through it. Okay, let me just grab our error. You're kidding me. That's why I hate Excel. Okay. And so I just want to figure out, actually no, I'm gonna have to read through that macro. I just want to figure out when I copy these weights, make a static copy of them. So this is AF37. Oh, it's at the very beginning right here. Okay, so I don't think I actually need that. Yeah, I can't remember why I implemented it, so we're just not going to implement it. And if anything breaks, we're going to deal with the consequences. Okay, so let's just record a new macro for our RNN. I'm going to call this record macro, update RNN momentum. So what we want is, we want it to refresh. I'm going to hit Shift F9. Then what we want for it to do is we want for it to start copying these weights, pasting them into their respective areas, LHVV, going back, grabbing a new set of weights, right, because what we've done is, so that refresh set momentum, and so now what we're doing is, and it set new weights, and so now what we're doing is we're just copying these new weights over, and then we will set the old value for momentum. Okay, it's weights 1 done, weights 2, and then weights 3. Okay, so within this same time step, what I'll do is I'll come down here, insert a new line, come up to where our total loss is, copy that, go down here to HVV, paste that, and then start copying over, finally, our momentum, and just save it as old momentum before we move to the next time step. Oh, we're done. A little tired, so that was almost going to be a disaster there. And that's it for the macro. So I'm just going to stop recording. And I'm going to assign this button to the new macro that we just created. Update RNN momentum. Then I'm just going to come in here. And just really quickly, it should be in module 4, I believe. Yeah, module 4. Just copy this guy here. Next, I. Okay, go ahead, hit save on that. Let's get back in here. And what I'll actually initially do is I'll only run it for 100 epochs, just so we can quickly see if there's anything wrong. Let's do it. Let's run it. Okay, I think it's decreasing. I started from 5, now we're at 4. Why is my graph not working though? This graph is useless. Okay, so now that that's working, let me set it for another, I guess, 1,000 epochs. And I will see you guys in about 15 minutes once it's done training. Okay, that's done. Let's see what has happened. Oh, that's not bad. So its error's gone down to 1,000. I'm excited. Does that mean that it's learned? Oh my god. I'm so confused as to why it's not learning. Then what? Do I just train it for another 1,000 or? Yeah, I'm very confused. There's now 1, but we're still not. This is still not working properly. Oof, okay, but I mean the point is, actually let's graph it. Let me graph it. The point is, now that we're using momentum update, it should be a lot faster. Yeah. So, whereas our normal RNN, it plateaued, and I think just got stuck in a local minimum. What you can see is, let me just graph them on the same chart actually. Okay, this one has 2,000 instances. So, I'm just gonna grab 1,000. Okay. Paste it here. Whatever. Point is, so this one here is our momentum update, and I guess no, that it got a better set of initial weights, so maybe it's not necessarily that it's performed super well, but the as you can see, especially at the beginning, it's a very steep descent, and I'd say it's maintained its pretty steep descent. So I could probably train it for another 1,000 epochs, and it'd probably get better than it already is. So it looks like it's working. I'm going to, out of curiosity, train it, but I'm also going to go to bed. So that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow we're going to be working on Nestrov's momentum. Nestrov's momentum, we'll cross that bridge, and I'll explain it when we get there, just so I don't repeat myself. Thanks for watching.